From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBICD Primetime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. It is Monday. It is December 5th. We only have 26 more days left in the year as well, too. So I know a lot of us are over here with the idea that, New Year's resolutions, all that good stuff. But, pretty much let's just get through the day because we always day to day, and we should all know that. So pretty much let's first talk about the NFL Week 13 Sunday aftermath. What a crazy day is Sunday. As you can see, these were the top picks, the top stories of the of Sunday Week 13. You had the Eagles improved to 11-1, and also you had Joe Burrow and the gang get up to 8-4 now on the season, and then you also had the Cowboys go to 9-3 as we speak right now. Now, the Cowboys and Bengals did not have the greatest of starts to the season, but they've gotten it together. Well, the Cowboys, they thought the Cowboys were in trouble when Dak broke his finger early in the year, but that proved to not be the case because pretty much that just helped this team just get better as they went on. And they actually were able to find out that their defense is pretty much the calling card for their team. So they are in good shape right now. The Cowboys dropped 54 points, and it was third time in about the last 6 weeks they've dropped 40-plus points. And then also the Cowboys have beaten 3 teams by at least 30 points or better this year as well, too. So that's pretty telling on who the Cowboys truly are this year, and that they're very, very dominant. Now, the Bengals, on the other hand, the Bengals did start off a little rough this season. They did wind up losing their opener to upset against Pittsburgh. Then they lost the next week to Dallas, and then they were able to win 2 in a row. But they had started off the season 2-3 after losing to Baltimore. Since that point, this team has went 6-1. So they're looking pretty good. They are still They still haven't won a game in their division this year, but that's okay. That's okay. They're 1-3 in the division. So that's something that they do have working out for them. And then also they do have a big game coming up this week in Cincinnati versus Cleveland, a team that's beat Joe Burrow literally up and down the field every single time they've seen him. So this is a game for Joe Burrow to try to get back, where he fit, to finally beat the Browns. And pretty much, the Browns have won 8 out of the last 10. I think they've won the last 5 in a row against this team as well, too. So there's a lot of things that play into that game on Sunday, but we'll talk more about that as we go along this week. Also, NFL Bet Exchange is going to be on Thursday this week at 9 a.m. My times because Jeff's a little backed up, so we are going to be doing a show a little bit later on this week. Also, as you can see, the playoff picture has kind of gotten a little bit more comfy for a lot of teams. The Jets 7-5 right now. They're trying to hold off both New England and the Chargers, and now the Raiders have came into the fold with their 3 wins in a row, and they're 4-5 against the conference right now, which is huge for the Raiders moving forward because they have a big win over the Chargers, and they have New England coming up on Week 15 as well too. And when you look at this, they put themselves in prime position last night, especially with the loss for the Indianapolis Colts, who would have, if they would have won, they could have been right up here in the mix in the group to possibly make the playoffs because they have that tie. But after last night, I think Indianapolis' season is pretty much over with. And I'm looking at the standings now. You have a 9-3 to the Bills and to the Chiefs, and then you have 8-4 teams in Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Miami, and 2-7-5 teams in Tennessee and the Jets. Tennessee's only in this because they are leading the worst division in football. Pretty much other than the other South, the NFC South. So this was a really good week. There's a lot of things that were told this week. The Bills are probably the best team in the AFC, regardless of what anybody thinks. They'll go ahead and settle some things with Cincinnati in a few weeks. And then there is, a big win by Cincinnati yesterday against the Chiefs, beating them for the third time. But I don't think that should go ahead and get you all, in a tizzy about how good the Chiefs really are. That was a good game that could have went either way, and they do have the one up right now. They have beat the Chiefs 3 times in a row, and 2 of them nobody saw them coming, but this third time around, everybody had to go ahead and respect it. And I think they did. Pretty much put the Chiefs on notice that they're not scared of them, but that doesn't mean anything to me at the end of the day. That means that pretty much that gives the Chiefs some more motivation. And then the Eagles and Cowboys are on a collision course to play each other. It's that simple. You look at this, they're 11-1. The Cowboys are 9-3. You hate the fact that they'll possibly have to meet, say, in the divisional round if the second and third seed wind up playing each other. But from what I'm seeing right now is you have a San Francisco team that's probably still going to make the playoffs this year, because the way that things are shaping up right now, you would say to yourself that, okay, this team should be able to make the playoffs this year when you look at everything, when you look at how everything's working out. And then Washington, with that tie yesterday, they actually fell out of the playoff picture, but they're not going to be gone for too long. You know what I mean? Because Seattle is kind of showing that they're still a shaky team as well, too. So there's a lot to talk. There's a lot we could go into. We could go into a whole show about Week 13, but Week 13 happened, and my takeaways like this: the best performances that we had were the Bengals, the Eagles, and the Cowboys, pretty much point blank, and that pretty much explains everything. And the Raiders winning their third in a row should put everybody on notice that they could possibly be on the way. And the Browns moving into being 5-7 and literally having mostly divisional games ahead of them should be something that is looked at as well too. So it's danger time for the New York Jets. That's all I can say. All right, so we move on and let's go ahead and talk about the game, the Monday Night Football game tonight, and that's going to be between the Saints and the Bucks. And you know that we already had a candid conversation about them last week, but I got to go ahead and talk about them today. We got an over/under of 41 points tonight. We also have the Buccaneers still a 3-point favorite here, and on the money line, the Bucks are a -175, but they're getting up there. They're a -180 on some sites as well too. When you look at the game, you got a Bucks team that's not even getting 20 points a game, but they're not allowing 20 points a game either. So this is weird for a Tom Brady team, but all in all, they just have to understand that this will be pretty much their biggest game of the season, because they can't lose this game. They really can't lose this game. And they're getting 350 yards per game, but the Saints are outgaining them in that category as well too. And then when it comes down to passing, Tom Brady's 6th in the league in that category, almost getting 280 a game. But it's the rushing game that's really killing the Buccaneers this season. They are the worst team in the NFL. They're only averaging 73 yards a game. That's a big problem right there. And they're not getting interceptions this year. They only got 7 on the season, but the Saints are even worse. They only have 2. They're dead last. And then when it comes down to sacks, both these teams are top 10. So you do expect some big time pass rushing tonight as well too. So you look at these teams on paper, they're both really bad. But all in all, we know who they have. We know Tom Brady's in the house playing for the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are coming fresh off of a loss as well too. So they're going to want to right that wrong. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But once again, I'll have my tickets for you guys here at the end of the show. And really, it's kind of a formful night for me tonight. And the Saints just haven't showed me anything. The Saints have not been a good team. They've dropped their last 3 out of 5. The Bucks have dropped their last 3 out of 5. But in the process, the Bucks had won 2 in a row, which really means they've really won their last 2 out of 3. So, this team is trying to figure out how to bounce back and just stay being on winning terms of things, in my opinion. So there it is. That's the Monday Night Football preview tonight. You guys make sure you check it out. The game does start at 5:20 on ESPN, and you know who's in the house for that one, Troy and Buck. So it should be a good one. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next one, which is going to be the CFP rankings, our next subject. And then, as you guys can see, Georgia, number 1. Michigan, number 2. TCU did not move off of number 3. They're still number 3. And Ohio State walks in number 4. And Alabama fans are going absolutely crazy. But let me tell you something, Alabama. You guys have had plenty of opportunities to be in the Final Four since the Final Four started 8 years ago. So at the end of the day, 9 years ago to be exact now. But so at the end of the day, who cares that you guys got left out? Because the thing is, you guys lost 2 games. They were against 2 teams that were very good in LSU and Tennessee. I know that's where you guys think that you guys have a case at, because those teams were top 10 teams, and they were very. The Tennessee loss was by 3, and the LSU loss was by 1. Both those games had to come down to the final moments. But Alabama just did not look good this season at all. And I told people, and I don't mean to sound like Nostradamus or anything like that, but I did say on Mike Abadir's show that you would not see Alabama in the Final Four this year, and they would lose 2 games as well too. I knew what I was talking about because this team was coming off of such an emotional high, and then they got deflated in the national championship game. They truly have never recovered from that. And Bryce Young is a really good quarterback, but at the same time, though, Bryce Young is a very little guy as well too. So you can go ahead, and once you start hitting them a little bit and really start showing that, and making him really work for the win, he's pretty ordinary, in my opinion. He's a great quarterback. He's a great game manager. He's what you want for a successful team. But I don't know if he will be able to do that on a Vanderbilt, if he will be able to do that on, say, Mississippi State, because he is running with a lot of talented players. But that was another thing that had Alabama kind of out of place this year. They weren't as talented as Alabama truly is year in and year out. They didn't have super studs at the wide receiver position or the running back position. The guys were just really good this year. And I think there was a little bit of a fall off with the offensive line this year as well, too. And I think it's just a sign of the times. Alabama had a really good job did a good job of recruiting players and bringing in the best possible players that they could bring in. But now with the NIL, with the way that teams are competing now, and sometimes just people get tired of seeing the same thing each year and year in and year out. And also a thing that messed up Alabama is Nick Saban is getting older, and Nick Saban started to make some real questionable decisions in these games as well too. So a lot of times you just tell yourself, like, man, we really, 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 really do need to figure out what's going on here. And we got to stop praising coaches so hard when we know that they're making big mistakes. And Nick Saban is guilty of being a little bit too overconfident. You know what I mean? And Nick Saban has to kind of get with the times right now, that it's not going to be about just Alabama and then everybody else. We have to get some parity in college football before it becomes a very uninteresting situation. And I know that a lot of people got pissed off because TCU still in the number 3 spot. They deserve to stay there because they only lost to Kansas State they beat Kansas State during the regular season. They lost the championship game, but they lost the championship game on kind of a technicality, and it was a bad call that was there at the end. And I think that they're making up for it with TCU, because what they did to them a few years back, TCU was left out, and they shouldn't have been left out. So they want to make up for it. And I'm just telling you, they got tired of everybody complaining about 2 SEC teams are always in here. So what they did, though, this year, they really wanted SC to stick around so they can make this to where it will become, say, a Pac-12, Big 12, Big 10, SEC playout. No ACC this year, but give these four opportunity because these four had never lined up all at the same time, and I thought maybe that was pretty cool. You know what I mean? But this year, but it just didn't come to fruition. But we do have the possibility of an Ohio State Michigan rematch, and we do have a possibility of having a great possible Georgia TCU game as well too. So I really do feel like these will be the best two games you could possibly get for the CFP. Honestly, they are. They're going to be really good games because when you look at everybody else outside of Alabama, everybody else's team will be victims. Okay, so I like it. I like it a lot, and I think that they did get it right this time around. Sorry, Alabama fans, but it is what it is at the end of the day. And this is a good-looking group, and we'll be talking more bowl games this week as well too, because we got the bowl set up. So I'll be previewing pretty much every single bowl throughout each and every show that I do. So then we can have an idea of what we're looking at in that form as well too. So, buckle up. We're about to have a lot of fun, and bowl season is among us. And I will be keeping count of how, I'm gonna put out my bowl list winners as well too tomorrow, and then I'll go ahead and I'll have breakdowns for each and every game as well too. So you guys, but not for a whole show, just daily. Okay, so you guys be ready for that, and we move on to our next topic in hand, and that's going to be a fun one. I don't like to sit up here and talk about people. I like to talk about the games, analyze the situations involving the game. But you just can't you just can't go without talking about Deion. Deion made himself a great platform to push over at Jackson State. They did a great job. Deion was able to finally get the coaching job that he coveted. He was turned away by his own alumni, Florida State. He was turned away by a lot of Division I schools and D2 schools. And then the light bulb came on, and he went to the worst school in the SWAC, which was historically black Jackson State. Jackson State, a very hopeless situation. You know what I mean? They just got kids going to school and just enjoying themselves on campus. And then, you play some football, you play some basketball, cool, no problem. But they do have a rich tradition of being a very, great sports program. And this was the school of Walter Payton. This is the school of Jimmy Smith. This is the school of many really good athletes that were able to play in the SWAC and be absolutely, incredible on the next level. Now, Deion came there and he put that Deion swag on Jackson State, and it worked out big time. Deion was able to go 27-5 in the process of being their head coach. Even though Deion did not win a big game there, where he lost the championship game that they had last year to South Carolina State, and that was a blowout. But Deion was like, I'm still here for the long haul. A lot of people got mad because Deion has left that university for Colorado. Colorado was kind of a surprise move for Deion because Colorado is bottom of the barrel in the Pac-12 and bottom of the barrel in CFB as well too. And a lot of people feel like Deion portrayed the HBCU system, and then a lot of people feel like he's going to fail at Colorado because his type of style isn't conducive to actual winning on this level. It's just more of a media frenzy. And I think that in a sense, everybody is entitled to their opinion, but this is mine, and I'm going to make it really quick. Deion Sanders has always been about Deion Sanders. Y'all just need to know that. But Deion Sanders is good at being able to sell something to you. And I think Deion Sanders is one of the most polarizing people that we have in sports and in just life in general. Deion Sanders has always been somebody that has had a lot of people talking about him, has had a lot of haters, and has had a lot of lovers. And, pretty much the thing is, Deion Sanders is just a person that knows how to move the crowd. He knows how to talk to the media. So it's a spectacle every time that he comes into a room. He gets a lot of attention. And I think that's exactly what it's about. That Deion just has a big name. And it's like if Michael Jordan was to come coach the North Carolina Tar Heels, it would be nonstop coverage of it and everything like that. But as you can see, Jordan's a lot more private than a Deion. Deion does not worry about who he's telling to, who he's talking to, or who he's talking about. Deion is a very confident man. I think that a lot of people look up to him because of that, and then a lot of people look down on him because of that. But all in all, though, I'm going to end it with this. I wish Deion very well, and I feel like he accomplished something in a very short time that a lot of coaches work a long time for. But when you know how to move the room, when you know how to talk, when you know how to sell people on things, you're going to get these opportunities. And that's what people have to understand. I think they need to use Deion as a great example on how you move in life when you want to be successful. And I think that's exactly what I feel like is the end all be all with this situation right here. There was an opportunity and he took it. It's that simple. And he did not come to coach a HBCU. He came to coach a Division I Power 5 school, but he was able to sell a great idea to HBCUs. But he also went ahead and helped contribute to a better future for HBCUs as well too. So he might not be the only coach that steps in, only big-time NFL personality that steps in and takes over coaching in that conference, and maybe not use it as a way to catapult himself to the next level. You still have Eddie George at Tennessee State. That's huge in its own right. And then you have more coaches on the way. So I would say this, that if guys want to just really go ahead and look at this situation, they should look at it as motivation. If you're a coach out there, try to be as great as you can at your job, be able to be influential, and that's exactly what Deion did. And so, I could have said a whole lot of hateful things about this man because I particularly don't care for some things because I met Deion and I talked to Deion, but I do respect the fact that he has always been a man of his own drum, and that's one thing that you can truly appreciate as well too, because I feel I'm the same way too, and a lot of people can't stand me, so it's all good. You know what I mean? So it's all good at the end of the day. Deion, just keep winning, just keep taking advantage of these opportunities, and he's really not done yet. If he's successful at Colorado, this is going to be kind of short-lived as well too. The end goal is getting to Florida State. I promise you that. All right, so with that, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break, and when I get back, we will have the state of the Lakers coming up next, and then we're also going to go ahead and talk NBA as well, too. So you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the PrimeTime Angles Live, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Caps.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we're back with the Premier Sports Betting Show, the PrimeTime Angles, live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. And man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great today. We got a great win from the Lakers last night. They absolutely wrecked the Wizards last night. They beat them 130-19. It looks like it wasn't that much of a blowout, but at one point the Lakers were up almost 30 points. They had a brilliant first half as well, too. They were able to score 68 points in the first half, only giving up 50. And then, they had 3 30-point quarters throughout the night. And they had a 25-point quarter at the end, but it's all good. They were up 24 going into the fourth quarter, wound up winning the game by 11. The Lakers, though, big night last night. Big night last night. AD drops 55 points, gets 17 rebounds, and he is making a case for the MVP, 2 monster performances back-to-back, but he's been out of his mind the last 10 games as well, too. I'm looking at AD's numbers right now. Over the weekend, AD was able to average pretty much 45 points a game. That's nuts. Not even 45, actually 48 points a game, 48 and a half to be exact. Was it 48 and a half? It might have been 49. It doesn't matter. The guy scored 90. The guy scored 99 points this weekend. That's nuts. He scored 44 on Friday, and then he went ahead and scored. He went ahead and scored 55 last night. He had 27 rebounds in this accord as well, too. AD is out of his mind right now. This is absolutely exactly what everybody was signed up for when AD was traded for a big bulk of the roster and guys that wound up being stars on this next team. Now, the Lakers might have the best scoring duo in the NBA, not named Kyrie and KD. They have Davis getting 28 a game, and then they got LeBron getting 26 a game. So you got 2 guys that are almost getting 30 points a game. And then Lonnie Walker's kicking in his 16 and a half a game. And then Westbrook is taking a back seat with the scoring, but he's still getting 14.6, and he's averaging 5.3 rebounds, and he leads his team in assists with 7.7, and he's doing all this coming off the bench now. Instead of playing 35 minutes or so like he was doing before, he's playing 28, and those might be the best 28 minutes the Lakers are getting from any player on the roster. Then Austin Reeves steps in and has his time as well too. He's averaging 28. He's stepping it up. He's actually in double digits this season, averaging 10.4 a game. That's very good to see. And he's shooting 53. He's shooting over 50% from the field, and he's the best, one of the best Laker three-point shooters as well too. You have a lot of things going in the right direction for the Lakers. Now, I do see guys like Chat, Toscano Anderson. Those are guys that I feel like are going to be a part of this new little thing the Lakers are doing. The Lakers are about to start getting rid of the dead weight. Like, they just got rid of Matt Ryan, a guy who was a good feel-good story for a lot of people, but I had my hang-ups with him because I felt like there were others that deserved the spot, and he got that spot. So, good for him that he was able to live a dream. He got a great shot against the Pelicans and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, though, that was not helpful for the Lakers moving forward. But then I had to understand that the Lakers were literally had to do this because they didn't have enough players. You know what I mean? They didn't have their guys. Schroeder and Bryant were both hurt. So it's difficult to go ahead and move forward and be a really, really good team if you don't have 2 of your better bench players or 2 of your two key guys to everything that you're doing. So in the 8 games since they've been back, the Lakers have been a much better team. The Lakers started the season off 2-10. Right now, the Lakers are 10-12. That means the Lakers have only lost 2 games out of their last 10. So they've been really good lately. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, who are they playing? The Lakers play every team, playoff caliber. They played literally almost every team that's a playoff caliber team in the NBA throughout those first 12 games. They just now got themselves a breather with playing San Antonio. And then how's it a breather when you play Milwaukee Friday night, a team that you were not supposed to beat? And they beat them. and they beat them well. They beat them nicely as well too. They didn't really have any issues with the Bucks. And then they go into Washington. Then they go to Washington D.C. last night, and they take care of their business against them. The Lakers are moving on up, and as we always say, this is not a sprint; it's a marathon. Okay, and a lot of people who already wrote the Lakers off, now they're all coming back around saying that they knew the Lakers had it in them. No, just keep your same energy. Go ahead and talk about how bad Westbrook is and blah, 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 blah. Because, none of that stuff was ever true. It was just people being frustrated about the Lakers not jumping out and looking like the 2000 Lakers championship team. You know what I mean? It takes time. They had to build chemistry. You have to understand that the Lakers are dealing with the situation where they have a team that has not been the same team at all any years LeBron's been there. Name somebody who's still left from when LeBron first got here till now. Nobody. So it is what it is at the end of the day. The Lakers just haven't had continuity to have a team in place like that. That's what most championship teams have. So the Lakers should be fine, and they are moving forward. I'm looking at their next few games tonight, tomorrow. They do have Tuesday night, they do have the Cavs, and then they play against the Raptors the next night. Then Friday, they got the Sixers. And then Sunday, they got the Pistons. And then pretty much they're back at home on the 13th, on Tuesday, to play the Celtics. So that should be a very hyped game because it's going to be on TNT. And the Celtics have the best record in the NBA right now. So the Lakers looking pretty good. They got themselves what I would say they got a week where it's going to be a little tougher this week, but they should be good this week as well too. The Lakers got a lot of excitement going again, and it is what it is. It's great to see. So there it is. So the Lakers are back. They've won their last 8 out of 10, and they're 10-12 right now. And they're moving on up to the playoff spots. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out with the Lakers. All right. So we got ourselves a very fun Monday night. We got 8 games on a Monday. Usually we don't get that many games on a Monday, but they gave us 8 games tonight on the NBA Monday night, and we got ourselves some really good matchups. And then we got some matchups when you look at them on paper, they're kind of one-sided. But this is the matchup that I'm looking into to kick it off here, and should be a fun one, a good one. This one is actually going to be OKC and the Hawks. And this game is going to be in Atlanta tonight. You have two teams going in kind of two different directions. You have the Thunder, who are playing exceeding expectations. They're not supposed to be this good, but they got a lot of draft picks, so they have a lot of ammo as is anyway. And I'm looking at they're coming in here 10-13, and they have went ahead and they've lost their last 6 out of 10, but they did win their last 2 in a row as well, 2 wins over San Antonio and Minnesota. Now they go ahead and they continue this road trip that just started on Saturday, where they have a 5-game road trip with Atlanta, Memphis, Cleveland, and Dallas. So now this schedule is going to get a little harder for the Thunder, but they should be okay. The Thunder actually have exceeded expectations immensely, in my opinion, even though they had a winning month in October, and pretty much they have So, yeah, I just had to let somebody know I'm doing my show. So, I truly do feel that this is something that we could put together to where it works out for, say, the Hawks, just keeping this game a little bit more in tune and in loop and things of that nature. So, it is what it is. And I just truly do feel like this one is going to be a game that truly does go ahead and, has us, it's an under the radar game. You shouldn't look at the Hawks like they're a guaranteed winner. They're having some issues right now as a team, because Trey had a personal issue, but then they tried to make something up, and he didn't like what they were saying. So they have that in play, but that's just a bunch of gossip. That's a bunch of nothing stuff. As I always say, the best players show up and they don't have to complain to the media about what's really going on. Now, this team has dropped their last they've won 2 in a row, but they're coming fresh off of a 3-game losing streak. But they got a good win on Friday night. I did have them as our dog of the day that day as well, too. So whoop, whoop, if you took them on the single. So they have that. So I do like the under in this spot in this game tonight. But really, I like the over. I'm very sorry about that. I like the over a lot in this spot. You got the 5th best scoring team in the NBA going against the 5th best scoring team going against the 13th best scoring team. Both of them are getting points. One averaging over averaging over 110 a game. So it totally makes sense to me that they can go ahead and hit this number tonight. Even though it's a big number, I think they still do hit it because in a game like this, defense is not going to be everybody's what everybody runs to. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, and it should be a fun one. And then you got SAG up in here, 31.1 a game, man. Probably the quietest 30-point season that we got going in the NBA. But it is what it is, and we move forward from there. Let's go ahead and jump into our next game, which is going to be the Raptors and the Celtics. The Raptors and the Celtics. I know I reviewed this game more than once. I know I've reviewed it probably twice this season. It seems like the Celtics are playing every single day or playing each day I do this show, and they're always a part of the super high five. But I had to put them in here, 19-5 going against the Raptors, 12-11. This is a divisional game. You got the Celtics, who are well ahead of everybody in the division, up 6.5 on Toronto, Philly, and the Nets right now too, who they beat last night as well. Boston's won their last 8 out of 10. You have Toronto, who's even in their last 10. Toronto, one of the better home teams in the NBA at 9-2 this season, and while Boston probably has the best road record in the league at 8-3. So this is a really good game tonight, and I do expect defense to be played on both sides. So I do like the under in this spot tonight, the under 226 that I see here. So we'll see how this one goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But Celtics at Raptors, divisional game tonight. It should be another good one. All right, so we move forward, and let's go ahead and talk about a game that really kind of got me perplexed a little bit. You got the Heat at the Grizzlies, and then when you look at the spread, it's a 1.5 over under 224.5. But the Heat have literally most of their team out. But the Heat right now are making that move to take over the Southeast Division. They're only out by 2 games behind Atlanta, but they still have a losing record. They're 11-12 right now, so they're trying to step this thing up to put themselves in position to be back in the mix, because right now, if we were to start the playoffs, Miami's still not in the playoffs, but they're in the play-in. And I think Miami, a team that was the first seed last year, wants to be a lot better than that. And I know Miami has a point in time where they're going to go on a nice little run here. So, don't count Miami out at all. So Miami, though, tonight, they have a lot of guys that are just out. And I just feel like you can't take that risk with Miami tonight. Now, the Grizzlies, they have guys out as well, too. But as long as you got Ja Morant, you're going to be good. You'll be fine. But they're 14-9 right now. The only bad thing about them is that they're not making free throws this year. They need to get better at that. Even Ja Morant needs to get better at that. He's shooting under 75%. You don't expect that from star players, especially when they're a guard. Jaren Jackson's getting into his own right now. He's almost getting 20 points a game. Dylan Brooks is doing well too. But I think they just need a little bit more, moving forward. But they should be good. And from what I'm seeing tonight, you got Bane, who's going to still be out. And then you have Adams, who's going to be a game time decision. So we'll see how that one shapes up and shakes out. But Grizzlies, Heat, should be a lot of fun. But tonight in this one, I like the Grizzlies on the money line. It's really a 50-50 game. You can take who you want in this game because I feel like it's going to be very competitive on both sides. But the way that Miami's coming in, they have a lot of little nagging injuries to a lot of very important players tonight. So I don't know how healthy they'll be for a game like this one. All right, so let's move forward and get into our next game, which is going to probably be the game of the night, which is going to be the Suns and the Mavericks. You have a Suns team coming into this game 16-7, while you have a Mavs team coming into the game 11-11 on the year. So, the Suns have played good basketball all year long, but they're not as bulletproof as they were last year. But they did come in. They did finish off November winning 6 in a row, and then they were upended by Houston at home of all places. Houston beat them by 1, but then they came back around and they beat San Antonio yesterday by 38. So they come back tonight. Texas two-step back-to-back game in Dallas, and Dallas is coming into this game, playing much better basketball, but they're kind of a moody team as well. They did get a nice win on Saturday during the day at the Garden. They beat the Knicks by 21. They also got a good win over the Warriors to end a 4-game losing streak in December as well too, but they have dropped their last 5 out of 6 though. So they do have that kind of working against them right now. They were playing as one of the more top teams in the league, but in this one right here tonight, I truly do feel the Phoenix is coming in here kind of shorthanded, and it's going to be tough without Chris Paul tonight in a spot like this. And I feel like, the Mavs just feel like they have the Suns number. So I do like them with the -3 tonight, to be honest with you. I love the Mavericks with the -3, and they're not a plus tonight. They're actually the minus tonight. So I'm sorry about that because it seems like no home team is a dog tonight. So I do like the Mavs with the 3 it moved up to 3, but if you got it at 2.5, good for you. I do feel like the Mavs will win this game tonight and win it by 5 or better. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But Suns at Mavs, this should be another good game as well too. All right, so we move forward and let's go ahead and talk about the Warriors and the Pacers. This is going to be the nightcap. This game is going to be in San Francisco tonight as well too. The Warriors coming in as a heavy favorite at 11.5 points, over under 236 tonight. Now the Warriors, Ty Halliburton is going to be a game time decision, but Ty Halliburton is absolutely killing it right now. I think that he will be an all-star this year. The guy's going for 19 a game with 10 assists. Those numbers are very good. Then you have Mathurin, who's coming in there 18.5 points a game. That's pretty good work right there as well too. And Miles Turner, a guy who's getting ready, who's really anticipating when he gets to leave Indiana, is having a really good season as well too, getting 17-8 a game, while you got Buddy Hield out here getting 16, 4 and 2, and he's shooting 36% from the 3-point line as well too. He's actually not better than Miles Turner in that category, but this team is doing their absolute best at this moment, and they're just trying to find some cohesiveness. But we all know Indiana's really not playing for much this year because they're looking at the draft to get them to keep building on what they already have, and getting Halliburton during the trade deadline last year was absolutely incredible. This guy has really stepped in and became the leader of this team, the face of the franchise. So this should be a lot of really good stuff moving forward for Indiana. But all in all, tonight, they got to go against the Warriors. The Warriors are always a tough task. The Warriors are the Warriors. We all know that. And you have a game tonight with these two teams where you have Chicago, they just beat Chicago by 8, and then they were able to get a 19-point win against Houston on Saturday. So they were able to take care of those back-to-back games. They come back tonight against Indiana, getting ready, and then they'll be back on the road against Utah. Then they play Saturday against Boston. So their week is kind of a week where they can go ahead and get right again, because we all know that the Warriors have been struggling this year. Let's keep it real. The Warriors are 13-11 right now, but at one point they were just 11-11, and they're still 2-10 on the road. So they are taking advantage of playing really well at the house, but right now they're still not in first place, and they're a game behind Sacramento, but they're above the Lakers now. So they have that bragging right. But it's all good. This is a team that is gonna keep going, is gonna keep playing great basketball throughout the year. But they're gonna have moments where they're gonna get popped as well too. But I don't see this team winning 60 games this year. I'll be honest with you. And I think the role thing is going to be something that's going to be a problem for them for the rest of the year, because it's tough when you're that good, because teams start putting that target on your back and they start playing you as if it's the NBA Finals every time they got you at home. So we'll see how it goes, but I do like the Pacers tonight with the plus 11. I think that the Warriors will be an overplay tonight, and I truly do like the plus 11 in this spot. And I think that it will cash out tonight. So that's going to be our 5 tonight. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and jump into talking tickets. All right. So with that, talking tickets, we'll go ahead and we'll break down the NFL, my CBB plays, and my Monday Night Football plays as well too. So you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the PrimeTime Angles, live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another, and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we are back with the PrimeTime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. So it is time for talking tickets, and with talking tickets, we do have ourselves 3 cards today. First one being my CBB PrimeTime PK6. That's going to be 48-1 today. I got Albany with the 14.5 going against UMass tonight, and then we got the 5.5 with Kennesaw State tonight. Shout out to my man Tommy Threadgill, what's going on? A Kennesaw State alumni right there. And then we got the plus 15.5 to LIU Brooklyn tonight. They're going against UMass Lowell tonight. They also got the Zags. They got a tune-up situation going against Kent State, who just got done playing Houston, who last week, actually, a few weeks back, actually, and they actually wound up covering against Houston. They only lost by 5. So that is a danger zone game, but I think the Zags should be good. They're at home cooking tonight, so it should be good for them. Then we got North Dakota State with the plus 15.5, and then we finish tonight with San Diego State playing against Troy. I think that they'll lock it up tonight, and I think we'll get ourselves a nice little 20-point win for San Diego State. They're not giving us much in the college basketball world. They only have so many games going tonight as well too, so it's understandable, very understandable right now, like where college basketball is at. So it's all good. 48-1 ticket tonight. We're playing all spread tonight as well too, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it checks out, but it's a 48-1. I just didn't want to leave college basketball lonely. Tonight I'll be working on the bets list as well too, so you guys be ready for that on the Twitter. So pretty much there it is with the CBB PrimeTime PK6. And then we have the NBA Super High 5, 23-1. And I kick it off with the over 236.5 with the Thunder and the Hawks. I did explain to you guys why we went to that game because I feel like that's where the scoring is going to be at tonight. I feel like this is going to be the highest scoring game of the night in the NBA. Then we have the under 228 with the Celtics and the Raptors tonight. This should be another really good game in Toronto tonight. That should be defensive. And I know it looks like it can be an offensive game, but I think it winds up being a defensive game. And then we have the Grizzlies tonight at home with the money line minus 125. We don't have to give up too much change on that one. So hopefully they can go ahead and get this one home, but it is a toss-up game as well. Then we have the Mavericks at home tonight as well, too, with the -3. If you guys want to go ahead and buy it down to 2.5 so you can have the original number, that can work too for you because then you can go ahead and win by 3. You won't get the push. But I would say this, though, if it has to be like that, you might as well just spend the 150 and go ahead and do the money line tonight. But I don't think you need to do any of that. I think the Mavs win this game, as I said before, by 5 or better. Really, I think the Mavs win this one by 6, 7 or better. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But I love the Mavs in this spot tonight. And then we wrap it up with the Pacers in San Francisco tonight with the +11. That's going to be the last tip of the night. So I do like the way that the Pacers are stepping in here, and hopefully they can go ahead and surprise the Warriors just like they surprised the Lakers in the fourth quarter. All right, so we have Monday Night Football bets tonight, and I'm going with the Bucks. As you guys already know, that was the play on the NFL Bet Exchange. So we got the Bucks 170 minus 175 tonight. Also, heads up, we do have a 10-3-1 situation going on in the NFL Week 13 winners as well, too, that I put up on Twitter. So we get the Bucks to win tonight. We finish up 11-3-1. That might be our best mark of the season this year as well, too. In that little game in that little list I put out on a weekly basis. And then you have the Bucks first half, 2.5 points. I feel like the Bucks should be up a field goal or better, if not 10 points, because I think they're going to dominate the Saints tonight at home because they have to. The Saints, they can't mess around with the Saints because they mess around with the Saints, they'll wind up losing 9-0. So they have an under 7 tonight in the first quarter as well, too. I expect a very low-scoring game here. I feel like the game does finish out like 20-17, something of that nature, possibly 17-14. You know, it's not going to be a game where they're going to be running up and down the field. I think that this game is going to be very defensive because you got two of the better sack masters in the league on both sides of the ball going into this one as well, too. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, but that is going to be your tickets for today. So I look forward to the outcomes, and hopefully we go ahead and we cash them all, even though that's kind of impossible, but it's happened before. So, you know, let's hope for the best, and big things coming, big things on the way. And I'll be back tomorrow at noon, and I got some good interviews coming up tomorrow as well, too. We got a lot of interviews coming up, to be exact, this week. I got Jahan Pretty Boy Ingram of the Davies Promotions, who trains out of the Floyd Mayweather gym in Vegas. We also have a few other guys who train out of Floyd's gym. My guy Toka Khan, who just got done fighting for the WBC silver belt. And we also will have a young guy coming in, Daeshun, who's going to be a very who's an up-and-coming prospect. We'll be talking to him before he goes into his first fight. So you guys be ready for that for Sweet Science, okay? So pretty much tomorrow we'll be breaking down a lot of college sports tomorrow. So you guys be ready for that. And I'll be ready, and I'll be here. So I thank you guys very much for tuning in today. And this is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the PrimeTime Angles, live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. And as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.